Ladies and gentlemen, it's February 23rd, 2019, and this is FAWMtalk! I'm of course Johan, with me as always, Mr. Pig Processor T.C. Elliott. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Trying to overcome technical difficulties, but yeah, life is grand.
That's the life.
Yeah.
We've all been there, yeah. At least we're live now. I don't know what happened with the intro. The sound was coming. Anyway, this is one of those days, so brace yourselves. Alright, and also we have a very special guest today joining us, Mr. StevenWesleyGuiles. How is it going?
So good. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad we've worked through some of those problems we were having. And problems. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to connect, so I'm just glad to be here.
It's sounding like some sort of therapy session.
This might be a therapy session.
No, I'm having problems.
It's good to have you.
I don't know what's... Yeah, anyway.
Are we doing special things with the camera?
No,
Hold on.
I was trying to see if it's like focusing, because I thought I turned... Yeah, it is. I thought I turned that off, but it's on again for some reason.
Oh, like the face tracking feature?
Yeah, kind of. It's like autofocus. This is one of those one of those days. It's not going very well. Oh, let's go to some music. I'm gonna take a gander, see if I can turn that off in the meanwhile. But here's one Steven actually provided us. This is a collaboration with him and let's see here, Robin
McKenzie.
Yeah. So this one is called "She's a Wild Animal."
Hair, brown eyes. That girl's gonna bleed me dry. Oh no. Long legs, big shoes. That girl's gonna cut me loose. I know. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. Running with the wolf. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. And the moon is getting full, yeah. She's got a license. She's got drive. That girl's gonna eat me alive, I know. She's a rebel. She's a rebel. She's the queen. She's the queen. She's out the gate and she's making a scene. Oh no. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. Running with the wolf, yeah. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. And the moon is getting full. She walks, she runs, she's gone. Her heart is like a symphony, but her mind's chicken. Bomb, 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 bomb. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. Running with the wolf, yeah. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. The moon's getting full, she's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. Running with the wolf, yeah. She's a wild animal, yeah, yeah. And the moon is getting full,
"She's a Wild Animal" by StevenWesleyGuiles and Robin McKenzie.
With amazing lip syncing by my fellow hosts.
Yeah,
That's our music video. I think that's the music video. I'm looking
Right.
at it. I'm some pretty great. That was pretty great.
Yeah, send it to MTV. Right?
They don't play
I got
music videos
Jack
anymore.
Conti.
course
I got
they do.
Jack Conti in my band.
Oh.
You look. You remind me a lot of. I mean, he looks like you. I should probably because you were there way before he was. For pretty sure. Jack Conti, whatever. Pomplamoose.
Ugh.
You guys know Pomplamoose? Are you familiar with Pomplamoose?
Vaguely.
No. They started this thing on YouTube. They were one of I don't know. They weren't the first, but they were doing this. What you hear is what you see. Videos like they would record a song and then they'd play all the parts. I mean, it's kind of common now, but they would like sing a background vocal and then you'd see her come in. And if he started doing some weird thing with a percussion, you would see the little percussion show up. And it was really, really, it was kind of unique when it came out. And they've kind of garnered a whole career from that start. And they're very talented. They're super great. They do amazing covers too.
All right.
You look just like TC. You look like Jack Conti,
The handsome one.
the handsome one. Yeah, I'm the hideous
just-
one.
Surprisingly, I've never heard of that.
Beauty.
No,
and the
yeah,
Beast. We should
it's-
form a band.
Yeah, you'll have to Google that later. Pomplamoose. It's
No,
I
we're
think
gonna
it's French for.
We're
something.
gonna do it
I
right
don't know.
now.
Yeah, Google that, everybody. Do the Google.
Let's start.
Google
let's,
the
let's
heck
just
out of
start
that.
watching that instead.
Yeah, it's going to be much more interesting, and they have a cute girl singer. It's the whole thing. Okay, so they do a mashup of a Radiohead and Pumped Up Kicks, which is pretty good.
The Pearl was saying you look
They-
like
they-
a Muppet. What?
Which one?
You look like a Muppet. I think
Is there a chat going on for this?
Yeah, there's
that I need to be in.
on the YouTube page.
Oh, is it-
There's a chat.
Oh, look at that. There it is. Oh, hey, Pearl.
I think it means different thing in Britain. Muppet.
I should stick this over
Interesting.
here.
We never had Muppets here in Finland, so I do. Everyone, all Americans are very passionate about their Muppets, but I just
I don't know about all Americans. being
everyone
All
has-
320 million.
Everyone I've encountered so far, when you mention Muppets, they go crazy.
I do think the Muppets are pretty cool. Like Animal, he's one of my favorites there. Yes, he's like TC drum just now. It's like
That's my inspiration for
sexy
learning the drums.
Muppet.
Actually,
see,
are
I've been
the sexy
heavily inspired by the Muppets. Actually, you're right. All Americans do love the Muppets. It's true.
But I understand.
We try to keep it a secret. We try to keep it.
I
a
understand it because we have
No.
Moomins, and Moomins are like our secret passion.
secret. Oh, what are they? What is it? Moomins?
You didn't know Moomins? Moomins?
No. See, there you go. Wow, there's like a
Sometimes
secret
I think-
world.
yeah. Sometimes I think Yuha just makes stuff up just to throw Americans off.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Here's a strange word. They'll believe me if I say this. Blah.
Moomins.
So wait, who started drinking already? Are you guys already drinking? Am I?
I can't drink. I have medication, so I can't.
That's what they say. They say don't drink when you have
Yeah.
medication. And that's probably a good thing. It's actually probably good not to do that. This clear liquid, don't know what it is, do you?
So here we go. If you don't know what Moomins are on the stream, you can see. I've replaced TC Elliott with Moomins, and these fantastic
stream?
little creatures. Yeah,
Oh my
What
gosh.
the? I've been replaced by a Moomin.
yeah. I'll put one on the.
It's like human, but like improved or something.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Improved.
Oh,
Human 2.0. Exactly.
Oh wow. Oh
So you
wow.
You never heard of those?
No,
No.
but it looks like a LSD trip
Yeah.
kind of.
No, come now. It's.
I mean, I'm sure the Muppets appear the same to
There was
everyone
a
else.
TV show,
Kind of
like an
insane.
animation. It was a little bit of like anime-ish, but not quite. It was a little bit like that. So I mean, it's not as terrifying. It's more like this very
That's terrifying.
adorable.
It's not quite as terrifying
As we're
As all
depicting
that.
at the moment. Yeah. Mostly terrifying, not completely terrifying.
I just want to thank all my fans in the chat room. If you have any questions, we're going to have some giveaways. I think TC's raffling off a $300 Starbucks card. I think there's a lot of great stuff happening.
I can give away a guitar if you want.
Guitar
Ooh,
giveaways.
yes.
I've got a
guitar
bass
giveaway.
guitar that I got a bass guitar I bought off of Shop Goodwill. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. And then I looked at the pictures after I bought it. No frets. It's
fretless. It's a fretless.
well, yeah.
Yeah, what are you?
AKA
I don't know.
a garbage instrument.
What are you like sending it
terrible.
off, like putting
Terrible.
it just stamps like on a on a guitar and then
Yeah, just on the guitar.
put it on a
no box.
mailbox.
Just
Yeah,
an address on the guitar stamped.
perfect.
But it does have 2 strings on it still. So.
Well, see, it can still make music.
Yeah.
So, by the way, how's everyone's FAWMs going here? How are your guys' FAWMs going?
Oh yeah,
Where are you in
there's
the
a-
process?
There's a farm going.
Is there a thing going? Is there like a...
I mean, it's called FAWMtalk, but I thought it was just a.
Nah. Thought it was Star
Nah.
Wars talk.
That can be also
right.
that can those worlds.
That might have been the last show. I can't remember.
I think people are kind of.
Alert viewer Evan has a question for us. He says, "What's the last thing that made each of you laugh?" The Mormons. That made me laugh.
The
That
Mormons.
was only
No,
seconds
wait.
ago. Also, the Mormons. I think we all all laugh at each other.
Moomins.
The Moomins.
Moomins.
It's like cow
but what the-
humans. The Moomins.
It's
Mormons.
Yeah. Moomins.
That made me laugh.
They are very adorable, and the stories are they are kind of magical and also super wholesome. So it's
No,
children's television at its best. But it was back in
that's cool.
like early 90s.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Not if I get a hold of it. It won't be wholesome anymore.
It ruins
We've
everything.
already
it touches.
established in chat that, yeah,
I don't know.
It's like the inverted Midas touch.
exactly.
What made me laugh? I don't know. I don't laugh much, but when I do, oh boy. That's a good question, actually.
I was either laughing or crying with the tech difficulties I had earlier, so that's. I
We
can't
started
think of
a-
the last thing that made me guffaw. You know,
It was probably
a hearty
some.
laugh.
I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so there was probably something in that one that made me laugh. That is a funny show. Yeah.
I know I've laughed today, but I can't think of at what other than myself.
I don't.
Well, sometimes that's the best thing to laugh at.
I don't know if I.
Well, I'm so used to people laughing at me, so.
You're like, I might as well laugh along with them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll pre-mock myself. Oh, yeah. So I saw someone say, let's see, Liesel? So FAWM has gotten rough. I can only half complete songs, but it's my first time ever sharing my music. Well, I totally understand that because, boy, the first time, and that's the first time you've ever shared it, like with anybody or sharing it online. I'd be curious to know, but I know that can be you can feel very exposed when you first do that. I'm sort of okay with that. I think when I first jumped in, I was sort of, I don't know. When I first got into FAWM, I'll tell you what it changed my way of doing music, like forever, pretty much. Because I think I wrote maybe 50 songs from 1993 to 2008, probably 50 songs, and I've probably written like, I don't even know. I mean, over 500 songs from 2008 to present, because of FAWM. It unlocked some things in me that I just had no idea, I think the coolest thing about FAWM for me was the that I didn't have to record one style of music. I was in an alternative rock band, air quotes, called Push Start Wagon. I guess we're still a band. I mean, we've never disbanded, but we haven't played or recorded or written anything in a very long time. But I always would write songs, and I would really be thinking just about that. Like I'd kind of be writing something that would just be that. So I didn't even have really much of a solo record. I did a solo record with my wife under the name Friction Bailey. So that was something that I was doing. But then I really was trying to find my own voice because my wife did not really enjoy performing. She didn't want to. I was performing and we were playing out together. And then she sort of like one day she's like, I really don't like performing live. And I was like kind of shocked because I didn't realize that she didn't really like it. Like, because I was a clueless guy who wasn't really tuning into that. And so at first I was a little bummed, but then I just sort of go, you know what, that's fine. I'll just, I'll work on stuff and not torture her by dragging her on stage with me. And so it took me a long time to figure out like what was what was my music. And FAWM really, just before FAWM, I actually got together with another FAWMer, John Natu. And he's in Michigan, and we started a little songwriting blog, and we were writing one song a month, and that was like just barely making it happen, But then I think after doing that maybe for a year, I saw that I probably like 2 or 3 days before FAWM started in 2008, I was like, I saw something about it, or there's this guy, Milkman, I think he's My Name is Milk. Daniel Jacob Horine, or DJ, they were guys that were there, like, I think in 2006 maybe. Like, they had just been there really early, and someone mentioned it. And so I just sort of dove in. And, man, the community was so cool. People were so cool to each other, so supportive. For me personally, I really thrive in community with people. Although I do a lot of my writing by myself, but I don't know. I just like being around that energy. Excites me. So February every year for me is like this huge kickstart to my creative year. It's almost like the beginning of the year for me creatively. February sort of like starts a whole bunch of stuff, and I have all these songs, and I've already been writing all year. I write a song every week. Minimum. TC knows we're both doing the Get Your Ass Writing Songs group, GYAWS. And so like I'm in shape when I get to FAWM. Like I've got all my stuff is already going. So there's no. I think a lot of people overcome some of the problems they have are they don't write all year, and so they hit February. So they spend like the first week or two, maybe even just like, oh shoot, where's my mic cable? And oh, the software doesn't work anymore. It's disabled, or the plugins don't work.
I've been there.
Yeah, and that's fine too. Like FAWM is really, it's cool because you have people that are like doing professional level music, and then you have people that are it's just a hobby, and you have people that like picked up a guitar like 2 weeks ago and just want to be creative.
Yeah, but also I think
so cool.
FAWM, in a way, it shouldn't matter too much whether or not you're professional or an amateur or hobbyist or whatever, because I think even if I'm producing music or if I want to make music professionally and sell my stuff and whatever, I still use FAWM very much the same way I would if I was just making songs for myself, because the idea is that you get songs out and process them later.
Yeah.
So even if you
and I'll say one of the things that I sort of learned after a couple FAWMs is that I try to have everything set up as well as I can before FAWM starts, so that when I record a song, because I found, he posted the link like right when I did. Great minds. I found
mediocre ones.
I found that my best version of the song tended to be the first one that I started.
Really?
Like I really did tend to love my demos more. Not that I wasn't ever able to improve on it, but I found that there's like this certain lightning that is captured when you are in that creative process.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I've just tried to improve my initial recording. I've also tried to like write down my chords or my fingerings at the moment, and just like even just spend 5 minutes or even just video myself like playing the chords and then put it into my Dropbox or attach it somehow. Because I found that after writing another 12, 15, 20 songs or whatever, that I'm like, oh crap, I'll never play that song again. And some of the songs I'll never play again. I mean, they're not playable, or they're all electronics and loops, and it's this big build-up thing. But
I don't know.
You know, and that's fine too. I like that.
I kind of think there is maybe a way to, like, when you create a song, there's always some sort of initial idea, and I think those ideas are valuable. So in that sense, I think there is a way to make something out of everything you ever created. So even if you don't like the song you made or the song you wrote, there's like something you can salvage and try to improve. And what you said about improving songs and how you think that for you, if I understood you correctly, for you it normally is like you like the initial version, the demo version better. And I've definitely had those experiences. Like last year I did the Synthwave album. One of those songs was my favorite when it was in demo form, and then when I got it fully produced, it just lost something. I don't listen to it anymore at all.
It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
I hate that. And that's why when I initially record, I just try to get, sometimes it's just like timing issues, and if it's really, it depends on the style of music too. You know, if it's like some kind of punk rock or indie rock thing that lives in the it's a live performance thing, I mean, that can just be part of what's cool. I was actually there's a band that I'm super inspired by. It's a band called Pavement. They were big in the 90s. Actually, they just had like I think the 20th anniversary of their album. It's called Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain. And I was just reading interviews with them about the whole creation process of how they came up with that album and everyone's kind of perspectives on it. And they were like, yeah, it was sloppy. It was like the first time we did it. We did it in this weird studio that wasn't like a normal studio, but there was something really special about it, how they did it, and they love it, you know. And the fans love. I mean, it's one of those records that fans really like by Pavement. And I've learned from a lot of people. Like I'm not a huge fan of Tom Waits. I'll appreciate everything he does. I don't own any Tom Waits records, but something that I do love about him is like I will listen to 3 different songs by him on 3 different albums, and they are so different. And they're just like, I was like, you can do that? You're allowed to do that as an art? Like like FAWM and stuff like that. I think people pointed that out to me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. It's okay to do that. So like 2008, I was writing like kids songs and jingles and kind of these mopey indie songwriter things, and then like a heavy metal song about tacos, you know, or whatever. Like it was so freeing, and I haven't looked back since. I mean, so now I write all those things. Now I don't always release all of them as StevenWesleyGuiles. But I do, I have lots more outlets now for a lot of my music. I have a thing called Mr. G, and it turns out there's like this electronic artist in England with the exact same name, so which is kind of a bummer for me, but it makes Spotify a little weird. His songs are like my songs are like kind of kids songs more. They're adult nerd songs too.
I have the same problem. I released my album under the name of IA, so there is an artist with that name. There are multiple actually, but one artist that they chose when I post my songs through Amuse.io. They chose to put or pair the songs with this Swedish singer-songwriter. She looks like got nice music going on, but like it's very different from my stuff, and it's under the same artist ID. It makes no sense.
Yeah, but so FAWM, it was cool because it definitely it made me go, oh, this stuff is valid too. You know, this is all valid art and creativity, and it can have a home. Some of it I just wrote, and I've literally have just never even revisited. I mean, I've probably listened to it once and gone, oh, that's cool. I've had a few songs like that I had, like last year, I had a song that I did that I just thought, you know, it's cool, I guess. And then there was such a good response to the song. I was genuinely surprised. I'm like, I'm really surprised that people thought that was anything, you know?
That's
so that actually ended up, we're our own worst critic, and we're our own, you know.
And it's
I don't know. It's tough.
It's sometimes very surprising what people respond to. We were talking about this with Eric, I think. Like he wrote a song about, was it monkeys or something? It was some weird song.
It already makes me happy.
Said that he gets like requests when he goes out, and people want him to play the song, and he thinks it's like,
that's awesome.
He never considered it to be anything that special, like, I guess.
Right. He just kind of whipped out. Like, I wrote a song about green beans one year. I think that was 2008. And it's a really fun song. And at first I was kind of like, I wouldn't play it live because I'm an artist, you know. I've got to play like kind of serious songs.
Right, yeah.
And now I'm, you know, the human experience is very vast and wide, and I guess it would be weird, like if I went to see Sufjan Stevens and he did some like, you know, ridiculous song about his butt or something, you know.
No, that's Errol.
But at the same time, I think they all have their place. Like I write some rock stuff, and now a lot of it falls under this Future Kings of Denmark, and I do that with Amanda West, who I can't remember her. Hold on, what's her username on? Oh man,
and 60.
Yeah,
something. 60.
Yeah.
60.
You're good. You are like the consortium of hecka knowledge. So I no, go ahead.
He's the archive guy of FAWM. Steve.
I know 3 names, so if you have a reference to one of those 3, I can nail it.
That's funny. I nailed one of the 3. Send me a text and tell me what the other one is, and I'll make sure to pull that one out at some point and make you look really smart.
Probably.
Pearl Manhattan.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Adnama said, what it his cat? Was it his cat?
Was it his cat?
Yeah,
I think it was his cat.
Eric Distad it wasn't a monkey song, it was a song about his cat, and that was the one that gets requests.
Okay.
Yeah. There was but
a monkey song would be awesome too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was a song I did, I think it was 2009 maybe, that Applehead here actually had a hand in. It was, the subject matter was the greenhouse effect and navel lint.
Oh my god! I don't even remember. You have to find that one, and I want to hear it. I don't even remember.
You know what?
That's awesome.
What if naval?
It was the. What's that?
What is naval lint? Is it about like some sort of battle cruisers?
It's sort of. So the challenge was you get paired up. It's kind of like the random collaboration challenge, but you just
I like that.
Signed up and said. You pair up, and each person has to write a song about the subject the other one says. And I have no idea what I suggested, if it was to Steven or not. But the one I got was, I want you to write a song about navel lint and the greenhouse effect. And so I wrote this song. It was like, navel lint to power your car, with this hard rock thing behind it. It was completely... It was so bad that it was funny, And I'll always remember. I think it was Steven's comment, and it was simply this: "This is the best song about naval ant and the greenhouse effect I've ever heard."
And to this day, that comment stands. A decade later,
does.
I have yet to hear someone over.
So
No one.
yeah.
No
so
one.
so when I was up to about 3 or 4 years ago, I was in a all original band here in town, and we didn't perform a great amount, but we were performing regularly, and we were like, okay, we've got 20 something original songs. Does anybody have anything? And I'm constantly writing and stuff. Always had songs. The singer was always writing songs, and we have something. And I was going through some old. I was like, well, I got a bunch of old songs. So I go, oh yeah, you'll hate this one. And I played it for him. That Navalent song, and I should never have done that
Because it became
they
a
laughed at
staple of
me.
their show.
No.
No,
But
dang it.
It was like, yeah, I wish, but it was amazing when you pull out something like this, and they were just looked at me like, "What the hell were you smoking that day?" It's like nothing. That's FAWM. I mean, they just don't understand what FAWM is. Like, you get the craziest
understand.
things. It's awesome, and sometimes crazy, and sometimes awful, and all those things combined. It's amazing.
I think there's way to make, like, even something that it's commercially viable from all your crazy songs. It's just a matter of taking it and, like, you have to have a little bit of a creativity to imagine how that could be something that people would be willing to receive.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of, like, random songwriting prompt, award from our sponsor, Bard Cards. Get your Bard Cards today. Of course, these are excellent, very excellent quality deck of cards with 108 different songwriting prompts, different themes.
Oh, dang.
So here's a one. Let me see here. Let me say, yeah, that's good enough.
The cards even look like a packet of mints. So if you flip the card back,
I also
you'll find
got
these tasty mints inside.
licorice, and I got mint, and all this good stuff. Oh, now I got something good. Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Is that a cookie jar?
I've got a pig farmer. The piggy bank. It's a pig farmer. Because I'm
Pig Farmer. Yeah.
That's classic.
Do people know that now? Is it still Pig Farmer on? It's not, is it, or is it?
No, it's
You changed the
it's
TC
in
Elliott,
the,
right?
Yeah, early on when Burr was like, anybody that one time only, you can change your handle on FAWM. It was like in 09 or 10 maybe. And
Yeah, that's when I changed it too.
Yeah, so I was like, put TC Elliott because that's kind of how I was known on Facebook, and it was one of those things. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then I missed it. I kind of missed being Pig Farmer. But I think I have a Pig Farmer. I started that account again as when I did maybe it's just on 50/90 for the 50 songs in 90 minutes thing that somebody did, and then Helen did, and then I did it, and a couple other people did it.
50 songs in 90 minutes?
Yeah.
That
really,
is knuckin' futz right there.
Yeah. And Helen actually, she says she still performs one of those songs fairly regularly. And
wow. That's so cool.
I didn't get anything
awesome.
useful out of mine whatsoever. Nothing.
Problematic.
That is really impressive, man. That's wow.
It was
wow.
crazy. Crazy. But anyway, it's one of those.
I was looking at Pearl was saying some of the songs she's not that fond of are the most commented and the most positive comments. Woody discovered me during my I don't want no kidney stones phase. I had one February where I was out of work for like weeks because I had just constant kidney stones come. I had to basically be in the doctor's office half the time. It was miserable. I finished. I think I only wrote 14. Like that was it. Like my normal FAWM is 20 plus. and sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 20, but like I normally would write a lot, and I always start FAWM like the last couple of years. I take a day off if it's not on a weekend, and I just dive in and I just write. My goal is to kind of come out the gate with a lot of songs, because I know myself it's a lot harder if I put it off. I'm pretty goal oriented, so having like that little thing where I'm getting the little filling up my little song meter or whatever. Did they used to have like a little green like it? I loved that thing. I want that back.
Years ago.
I loved that, but yeah, that was really cool. I don't know what my point was out of all that. Oh yeah, just that I had kidney stones and it sucked. Don't get kidney stones.
Yeah.
But I still finished FAWM. I still finished FAWM.
Don't you dare getting those kidney stones.
That's why I drink. That's why I drink this filtered vodka water.
That's a good idea.
Vodka water.
I think in general, it's like one
Same
of those,
color.
It's one of those health secrets, right?
Yes, and I've honestly I haven't had too many since then. I drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of water. I don't drink a lot of dark liquids like sodas. I stay away from. I don't know. I had the kind of kidney stones where I had both kinds. So they gave me these 2 lists of foods I can't eat. And it was like all food, just don't eat anything. I'm like, okay, obviously I can't do that. So I'm just going to try to be moderate and drink a lot of water. So that was my secret. So if you're having kidney stones, anyone, drink a lot of water. Like that is my advice to you. Just like at least 2 of these a day, minimum.
That's probably
just
the
get
reason
through those.
I've never had those, because I drink what, did we calculate this one? It was like about a gallon of water a day, thereabouts.
Oh wow, that's good.
So
No kidney stones for you.
This is half a liter, and I fill this up constantly, and just yeah. But then I read this article. It was in one of those like reputable magazines or newspapers. There was this article that says that you don't actually need to drink a lot of water. That it's just a fad.
Really? I
was reading like
only that's basically all humans subsisted of in the early. I don't know. Maybe they milk.
I've read some of those articles that for and against, and I think the health benefits of water have been overstated is basically what they're saying, but that it's never a bad thing to get more water if you don't have enough. Like just being hydrated, like if nothing else, if you get fully hydrated, which is darn near impossible, but it changes so many aspects of your health. So if you can stay hydrated on a regular basis, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, there were like doctors saying that no, you don't need to drink like 3 liters or 2 liters of water a day. I don't know. Anyway, let's get some music, huh? That's
music.
Music.
There's supposed to be music in this show, but
songs.
We're typically
songs on FAWMtalk.
Yeah,
what the heck?
It's one of those shows where. So maybe we should. Here's an idea. Maybe we should play music and then just rate it. Let's rate these songs on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh no! Yes, brutal. Just like pull up random songs on the website. That is not the FAWM
somebody
spirit.
We don't like?
Yeah.
Is there somebody we don't like? We can pull up their song.
Yeah. I was really feeling
that song and trash it.
I was really feeling this.
That's completely the FAWM spirit.
I was 3 out of 10.
3?
I was feeling generous, sorry. Right. Well, here's one by Melody Klein. This one is called Confused Confucius.
Oh yeah, I like this one.
Muting my audio.
Confused Confucius by Melody Klein.
That's like going on a journey.
Yeah, that's
That was
her music in a nutshell.
I like that. I like that keyboard sound. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. She's had several good ones this year.
There's so much good music. I'll tell you what, that is a hard thing about. There's so much. Like I feel horrible because my watch list is huge, and like there's like 40 songs that have appeared, and I'm like, oh gosh. And I'm also trying to listen to new. I really try to make an effort to go find people I've never heard, and listen to their songs, because that's a big part of it too. Is just having people that you've never heard before. So I feel a little like I was just commenting on Billy C, who I think he started roughly the same time we did, or maybe a year or two after. But I remembered he would write like so many songs. He wrote so many songs, and he lived somewhere in San Diego, and he actually came up a couple times, and we did like a songwriting showcase after FAWM one year, and it was awesome. We had so many people. It was just like a cool event, but it's never been quite as big as we did it that one time. But this is cool. There's such a wealth of music, and that's part of what makes it so exciting. You know, I think that's why FAWM works. And I know I've seen lots of comments where people want to keep it going. And I think it's good that it's a seasonal thing and it comes back. You know, it's special. Yeah. It's special because of that. It wouldn't be special, I don't think, if it were happening all the time. You know, I think it would lose something. It's like you can't look forward to it. It's not like you can't continue it, though. And for everyone out there, I mean, I would definitely recommend finding some songwriting group or forming a songwriting group. We have this one called Get Your Ass Writing Songs. It's on Facebook. We posted that link. It's a really great group. It's very similar. There's a lot of FAWM people there, so people are pretty darn cool. It's actually it's kind of a mix of FAWM people and taxi people that are like kind of working towards professional, like doing professional songwriting stuff, and people that are just like trying to get a little more serious about it and be more consistent creatively. And it's not as interactive as FAWM, for sure. It's not. You know, people do interact, but it's not the same. It's not the same feel, and I love it. And it keeps me like. It's just one of those things. I just do it out of habit now, and for me, it's a good habit to have as a songwriter. It makes me do something every week. You know, like there's a deadline
for me,
which is, yeah. Go ahead.
For me, what I've been thinking this past few days is I haven't been concentrating that much on FAWM because I've been doing like game development and stuff. And the problem is that even when I think about doing more songwriting, it's hard to find things that I haven't done already, and like simultaneously things that I would have interest in doing. But I also have a lot of songs that I have done already, and I'm more interested in trying some sort of production challenge. So maybe taking those old songs, giving them another pass, maybe doing different things songwriting wise, and trying to produce something like actually viable out of those songs that I have, because there are many hundreds of songs that I have crafted. And I find, because we talked about this earlier, I find that when I take some old song and I really start to like work on it, I can find many things that I could improve. And when I do that, I typically like the end result a lot better than the original. But there are some times when it doesn't work out. But normally,
So do you have an example? Like what's something that you typically I'm sure it's different for each song, but what types of things? Is it the playing? Is it the parts? Is it the writing? What parts do you find that you can improve?
Yeah, it's everything. I think everything, because I can focus on lyrics, and lyrics are they're easy to improve. Well, not easy, but like there's always room for improvement in the lyrics, and just making sure that you can convey the emotion you're trying to convey the best possible way, and just have the correct build-ups, and that goes in music too. And all sorts of transitions, working on the transitions so that the song like flows correctly.
So, like the arrangement in the music.
Yeah, that too. And some songs I have taken, like my first FAWM, I had these heavy metal tracks, and I took one of them and I started to compose. I started to add sections. I started to alter sections so that they are more interesting and there's like more liveliness to them. And I added this really long outro that it was weird. It like goes it changes kind of the feel of the song, but it sort of fits to what I think it needed to be. So when I start to think, when I have a song that I'm listening to and I'm like, okay, this is kind of alright, but how could I make this more like the thing that I want it to be? How can I make this something that conveys the emotional core that I need to convey?
So for me, I think it's a good. It's like that double-edged sword, because I think that the danger of too overthinking it is that you never finish anything. But which is why, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a song where you spent so much time on it that you just. I don't know if it loses anything or not. Like, I mean, I'm wondering, do you do that with every song? Or do you just do that with certain songs? Like, are there certain songs that you feel very strongly about and you'll spend more time? Or do you tend to take most of your songs and, like, really go back and rewrite or do you just say, I'm out, that's done?
Yeah, I haven't really done that. And that's the reason I want to do it more. Because typically when I do it, the results are very, very good. But I get what you're saying. Like, some songs, maybe the more simpler songs are kind of, they can stand on their own more easily. But even in those cases, I find that I have some sort of goal. Like, I want this song to do this. And even if I can't figure out ways to add something, maybe there are some sort of extraneous things that I can cut out of the song to make it more like streamlined or focused.
Yeah, there's a really good Ira Glass. I have a just Google here. I put it into the chat. It says Ira Glass beginners video, and he talks about, like, I find this is happening more and more with me now. Like, I was in a band. We were on a label for a short period of time, and, like, the recordings came out sounding really good, really, really good. But I wasn't personally involved in the recording. Like, I was there to record, I played, I sang, but I wasn't a part of the recording process. And so something for me that I've been trying to do, I've been chasing that rabbit ever since, is trying to get a recording where I'm like, what I just heard this song by so-and-so, like, I want to achieve that. For me, I'm pursuing the sonic quality also. I'm probably less, I'm less focused on the lyrics, and I probably should be more focused on the lyrics. I tend to just kind of whatever comes out. Although I have written lyrics just before I start, many times I'm actually really happy with it. But I'm trying to think I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? Did I just say? I think I just blanked out. I think I might have had a little mini.
We were talking about improving lyrics and.
Yeah, well, improving the lyrics, the sound. I'm sorry. So, Ira Glass talks about this. Like, the reason we get into our art or what we do is because we like other stuff. You know, we have good taste in a sense. We have taste for something we like. So I hear something I like. I always think about this. There's a song. There's this band called. Oh gosh, they have a song called. What is their band name? Frick. songs for people that don't like songs for people that are sad. Modest Mouse. I can't remember the title of the freaking album. There's a song on there called the Blame It on the Tetons, and I love for whatever reason the low end on that song. It's like this acoustic and it's like this close vocal, and the bass has just, I love the sound. So like I'll go back to that every once in a while and go, I just want to achieve that sound, but I'm still chasing that, like, and this is what Ira Glass says. He says, if you are always feeling like you're falling short of that thing you're trying to reach, you're on a good path, because that is part of you getting better. Because you realize that you're not there where you want to be, and it's moving you forward. It's sort of like having the carrot out in front of you that's kind of pulling you onward, you know. And I don't think the comparison thing is. Yeah, I think you have to be careful, like, not to compare yourself to the point where you're like shutting yourself down. Like, I'm not good enough, so I should stop. I should be like Modest Mouse, or I should be like Sufjan, or I should be like Metallica, or I should be like whoever. But I get a lot of inspiration from those artists and the sounds they get and how they approached a song, and I really try to get that sound, even though I 0% of the time ever fully achieve it. You know, like I can't very many times say I just nailed it. You know, I'm still trying to. Yeah. And but if I look back at where I was and like what I used to do and what I'm doing now, like, and I put it side by side, like, I can tell that I've definitely improved. Yeah. And there's stuff that I love from my first FAWM too, that I think is just almost perfect, you know, like the way it was. And there's some that's just trash. I mean, it is so bad, you know, it's so cringeworthy. Yeah, I don't know. So an encouragement is, if you're hearing stuff that you're wanting to achieve and you're not hitting it, don't be discouraged, because that really is part of the creative process. That's how you get good at what you do. Absolutely. You just keep trying. And then you're also developing, he kind of talks about developing your own voice in that process, like developing your own, your own voice, your own artistic voice.
Yeah, I think that happens kind of naturally, because when you're developing, you are following the stuff that you like, and you are kind of, because I like Iron Maiden a lot, and I've played their music a lot. I've made songs kind of like their music a lot, but I think it's Iron Maiden has elements that I like naturally just don't. I don't include those elements to my music. So, yeah, in a sense, if you even have like 3 bands that you really like and you're trying to emulate, you take the things that you like from those bands, you incorporate them to your music, and leave the rest out. So that's already like creating your own voice. And what you said about improvement, I like this quote by, I don't know who. I think I checked this once, but it's if you're not failing, then you're not trying hard enough. So you should always, if you try really hard, sure, you're gonna fail, but you're also gonna improve. So it's always gonna take you further. And
he who tries not achieves no victory.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just made that up. Steven Wesleyguiles. Thank you.
Yeah. But what you said about your first FAWM, I have that same experience. I like many of the songs that I made my first FAWM, and I wrote those things in 1 week. But the thing is now that I have so many songs that I don't really think that I want to write more songs. I think I want to take what I have written and just try to perfect them. Or not perfect them, but try to make a version of them that really pleases me. And Yeah.
I think it's really
think that's
important
valid.
to finish, you know? Like, I think, I feel like that's, you can tell me if that's what you're getting at, but I think that a difference, and this is, I consider myself a professional musician because I do music and I earn money. And I'm not a full-time musician, but I still consider myself professional. And I wouldn't have called myself that before, even when I was in the band, because I don't know. It just felt weird saying I'm a professional, you know? But I one of the things that I found that a lot of professionals do is they finish, you know, they start it and they finish it. There's a beginning, there's an end, and it's not, because I've met people who are perpetually, I got to rewrite it one more time. I got to record it again. This recording is just, the guitars weren't good. Now I got this new guitar. I need to use that guitar. And I think that people put too much weight on that one song. I mean, I'm not saying you can't revisit a song and re-record it, but I think that it stifles creativity if you get stuck on. And that's not what you were saying. I'm pretty sure. I think finishing it is so important. I think that's why I love the Get Your Ass Writing Songs group, because it's like every week there's something needs to be done by Saturday night. I need to have finished a song. Yeah. You know, I need to have a 2-minute song. It could be a voice memo. It could be a cut and paste of me singing the same verse over and over again to a loop. But I'm going to finish something. And that's really helped me, like, kind of when I approach, like, because, like, the last year, I think I released 2 albums. I released a solo record and Future Kings of Denmark. It was like within a year, I released all that stuff. And it was like me taking songs I'd recorded, a lot of them during FAWM, actually, and taking those songs and just deciding I'm going to mix them. These songs feel like they're good together, and I'm going to make a record, and I'm going to release it. And because I just sat on them for, like, some of the songs I've been sitting on since 2010 or 2012, and I hadn't done anything with them. And the other side of writing a bunch of songs is that maybe nothing happens with them, and maybe nothing does have to happen with them. You know, it's not like you have to do something with it. Sometimes the act of creation is the problem, all you need to do.
Yeah, the problem I have is that I've written many songs and I do like them, but what you do during FAWM is that you just keep writing stuff and you make this really quick demos and just write some sort of lyrics down. Or that's my process, at least. I make things very, very, very quickly, and that's my process with everything that I make. And I don't have this sort of mentality where I just go and try to, like, visit something again and again and again and again. I just try to, because I have demos now. I have some sort of songs that I've made. I wonder if I made them again. I sort of started again with those songs. I have the idea down. I have some sort of ideas I can maybe utilize in the songs. I wonder if I put more time into the process, I can probably make something pretty good. And if I, instead of just recording crappy demos, just, like, practice, recorded some actually good sounding takes and try to produce something worth, I don't know, Spotify or maybe even some sort of physical media, if anyone listens to those anymore. I think there's like value to that. Absolutely.
Well, I think absolutely. And by the way, it is not hard now to get things on Spotify or.
No.
I mean, yeah, there's like a million. And I understand that part of that is we have our, like, censor that says this isn't good enough yet. You know, like, and that's the thing that I've fought against. Because I was in one of the bands I was in, it was very, like, it had to be like, oh, like up here, which was good, and it pushed me, and it probably brought me to where I am now, you know, but I sort of rejected that for several years. Like, I'm like, screw that, I'm going to release some stuff, I'm going to just put it up online, I don't care. And by doing that, I also found, it's like people that I find when we come up to FAWM, they don't want to write any songs before FAWM, because they're like, don't want to use up their, like, song juice, you know? Yeah. And I always counter that by saying it's like a muscle, and the more you do it, you're going to be able to write even more, Like, and I have found that to definitely be true. And I realize I'm sort of a freak of nature in some cases. And, but honestly, like I said, for like almost 20 years, I wrote only this many songs, and they were they were okay. I mean, there were some of them were really good, and I spent a lot of time crafting them. But I've written a lot more, and I have gotten so many more that I think are really good in such a shorter amount of time.
I think there's
weird.
validity to what you're saying. Like, FAWM sort of opens the floodgates. It gives you permission to just keep writing and do things. And when you do a lot of stuff, then you naturally improve. So your baseline is a lot higher. So you start from here and you start writing songs, and it naturally evolves to a point where everything you do, just the quality is higher. But I don't know, what I'm kind of facing at this point is that I've written a lot of stuff, right? And I don't know, I'm sort of feeling like I don't want to write anymore. I don't know if that's kind of insane.
I feel like there's enough stuff here.
I don't know. I think that's very personal to me, probably, but it's kind of... You do a couple of FAWMs, you do 50/90s, you write 50 songs, and it's like...
Yeah.
I've done that, and when I start to write another song, it's kind of like, well, I've done this already. It just feels sort of repetitive.
How much do you think that's just for music? How much is that because you have so many other interests that you kind of delve into? Do you think that contributes to that or not?
Definitely, yeah. I was considering probably in January that I might just even quit everything else I was doing, like art stuff and game stuff and writing stuff and what else I'm doing. All those different avenues, and just concentrate on music and just I could keep February for songwriting and the rest of the year for practice and like, what do you call this, like engineering or production. But it was like a week from that, and I was feeling like I don't want to do this music stuff anymore. So I don't know, when I feel like I start to get to some sort of, what should I call it? When I start to see some sort of pipeline in front of me, well like this is all I'm doing now, and I start to get that fight or flight reaction, and I have to. The process starts to feel tedious, and it has to be some sort of like. Yeah,
I want to enjoy it.
Well, that too, but I feel like I need some sort of inspiration. So when I write songs, I need to have the inspiration to actually do it, and that motivates me through the process. But so when I try to force myself to write songs, like I'm gonna do this, and I'm no matter what, I just start to feel like I could be working on that project. And when I start to work on that, it's like, yeah, hey, this is like really going forward fast.
Do you think if you were, we talked previously how you played in bands before, and you kind of talked about that possibility, or maybe not that possibility in the future. Do you think if you were in a band, like actually playing, do you think that eventually that writing would come back because there would be a purpose for it?
Yeah, that's absolutely a part of it. And I think writing songs for some specific purpose is like a valid motivation for it, and it kind of inspires you to do that stuff. Because I can't, if I'm in a specific band, I don't think we can really utilize any of my old songs unless we completely change those. But it just feels kind of wrong. I mean, they have their purpose and they have their place, and if you have a new project, just write new stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I'm kind of. So we've all been, the three of us have been in FAWM for long enough that we all have a good amount of songs. Like You know, I've got hundreds and hundreds of songs just since I've started FAWM and 5090, and but part of that is, and we've talked about it a little bit before, is having, like, what do you do with it once it's written? And I know I'm definitely guilty of wanting a song to be good before I let somebody hear it outside of FAWM or GYAWS or these groups. Like, I'm really good about, like, I participated in the Super Skirmish the last day, and somebody pointed out this morning that I had 5 songs in like 13 hours. So I'm really good at get the guitar out, get a melody, write down a lyric really quick. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get it out. And if there's something there, the idea is to come back and make it better or polish it up or make it work. But I've fallen into that where I write more music, but I've never really worked on the good ones that I've had before. Or if I do work on them, I want them to be so good. And so last year I kind of forced myself, a year ago, January, and I put a Bandcamp album out, and I made a few Kanaki pressings.
Yeah.
And when I can hear all the mistakes in that, and I still don't really push that, because I think, even though I like the music, and for the most part I think that the songs are okay, but they're still not up to the level that, you know, you dream of. And I think that kind of goes back to what Ira Glass was saying, and some of the other things is, and something that I tell people all the time, beginning songwriters and people new to FAWM and in my local song circle, it's do the best you can with what you have, and the next time try to do better. Mm-hmm. But if you, all of the things we've talked about, going back and making it better, doing a better recording, doing polish on the lyrics, all of those things are valid. But if that bogs you down, when it becomes a negative to where you can't create and you can't put out music, or you can't be creative anymore, then it's a negative. Then there has to be a time when you can say, you know, I've done the best I can. And I just think of how many songs, even from the Beatles all the way up, where there's a flaw in the recording, or there's something that's just not perfect, but I love it. It has something in there. There's the Led Zeppelin song where you hear Robert Plant's come in before it comes in, where they erased, you know, they recorded over it, but they couldn't get it all. So you hear this thing in there, and it's a mistake, but it's classic now. I mean, you know, if they were doing it, if they could have deleted it out, it wouldn't be there. All the way to, so I think there's that balance. I think I'm definitely kind of stuck in that mode now of maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So I've got a lot of songs lately that are that folk rock, and it's kind of in my wheelhouse, writing, and they sound good, and I can sing them. And so I'm thinking, instead of, okay, I'm going to do a new project and write all new songs, maybe the project is to take all the kind of what Applehead was saying, I'm sorry, what Steven was saying,
Old school.
And taking the songs that you like, that you've never done anything with, and do something with them. Yeah. So I think both.
Gotta show you
valid,
something.
but...
So here's my whiteboard
Oh man,
of songs. So this is not all my songs or anything, but this is a bunch of songs that I've written. And I had a friend, and he came in the studio, and the reason I released 2 albums last year is because my friend threatened to erase my whiteboard. And he said, you don't release any of it anyway, so I'm just going to erase it. I'm like, no! I said, okay, I'll release an album. I'll do it. It was weird that threat is what caused me to take my frickin' songs and put them on a record. So there's my Future Kings of Denmark down here, and I just made my little checklist, and it's like, okay, song is finished, like 100%, all the parts. Song has been mixed, has been bounced, has been mastered. I have it in a folder where the file's named, so it's ready to upload. And I just kind of broke it down into tasks. You know, I'm very task oriented, so I mean that's good for me. But I think a lot of creative types allow themselves to be lazy on some of the creation side. I'm an artist, and then they get really frustrated that they don't have something, you know, and then it's like, but some of it is you really do have to do the work. You have to sit down, and maybe you have to re-record the vocal because you did it really fast and it was really pitchy. It's a good song, you just got to redo the vocal.
That's actually
and sometimes I think it's so overwhelming because there's so much, like 10 songs plus times however many, like say there's 4 tracks in each song, maybe acoustic guitar, solo, vocal. That's a lot of, I mean, it is a lot if you multiply it out. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of time. But I think if you take it like, I'm going to just spend an hour a week or an hour a night, maybe 2 hours on the weekend, I'm going to just dedicate to chipping away and checking one thing off my list. I finished the tambourine solo on this song, and I downloaded one mix, and that's a victory, because it's like just kind of keeping that
and it's
forward progress going. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And hey, Charlie. And by the way, thanks, Alex. And I'm so sorry, Pearl and Alec. I told Pearl, I said we should collab, and we have not collabed. No, but it's not too late, Pearl. It's not too late.
The task
Send me
is
some
actually,
lyrics.
We were talking about this earlier, where I was talking about game development with TC and the fact that you have to have two different mindsets. Like you have to have that creative, like really getting stuff done no matter what, and then you have to have that sort of organized mindset where you just put tasks up, and I'm gonna do this task, and then I'm gonna do this one, and they're all gonna be organized and in their designated folders and whatever. And whiteboard is a great way to do it because you can always see it, but you can also use tools like Trello and make tasks in Trello and keep moving them around. Like you have some sort of backlog of tasks, and then you work on them, and then you move them to done when they're finished. And similarly to your whiteboard. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, I like having a physical checklist. I know the irony is that I'm almost 100% in Google Docs these days. Like I do most of my lyrics in Google Docs. Although if you look at my desk, it's covered in random lyrics and to-do lists that sometimes my to-do list gets covered by another to-do list, and I haven't done the stuff on the to-do list that's 3 layers down or whatever. That's okay, because I'm still working forward. Oh, look at all these! Everyone's got their sweet to-do. There you go, people. Look, half the battle is having a to-do list.
Yes,
and checking a few things off of it.
So speaking of,
I got to show you my to-do list.
Steven posted a link to the chat about Kunaki. And if people don't know what Kunaki is, I think many people know what Kunaki is, but you can get very, very cheap CDs from Kunaki. It's like $5, 5 CDs, right?
Yeah,
about that?
Yeah. It's just a little bit more, and you can make a very limited run.
Yeah,
it's full color, front and back.
Yeah, I made this. This is from Kunaki, so my last album, and it's not great, but for the price, it's all right. And you got the back, and you got the barcode. That's very important. And
let me grab my Kunaki CD. Hold on.
Image here, and there's a print on the disc, and looks all right.
Did either of you have problems with your with the tracks skipping at all?
I have no. I don't know if I've listened to this ever.
I feel a little left out that I don't have my Kunaki CD right here either.
So Steven, I was
again.
Darn it.
So I was just asking Yuha, and I would ask you: do you ever have any problems with any of the CDs skipping or any problems with playback?
I haven't heard
with your Kunakis?
I haven't heard anything, and I've played them when I get them, so I haven't experienced that. It seems like things have kind of gotten a lot more universal as far as the playment systems, and I realize CDs are kind of going, and it's all going to be streaming pretty soon. But there are people like people my age who bought CDs, who are into my music, are still like looking at that. And I even looked at vinyl at one point, but it is expensive and heavy.
Well, so I experienced a little bit of problems. I've got John. Was it John Staples?
Maybe, there's a John.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, and I know this dude really well. So he ordered the disc, and it was skipping pretty good. Now, you can download, like you can import it into your computer. And then I took a copy over to the local public radio station, and one of the guys played couple of the tracks there, and I found out two things. One is I have them mixed pretty hot. They're about a half a dB from top, so the radio station's automatic compression was really pumping them out. So that was a mistake on my part, and I had read something about that, but this is the first time I'd ever tried to do anything. So now when I do a master, it's 0.7 or below. Which I assume is going to be good. I've never tried it. And then the that's what I should probably. Well, I haven't done a CD since then. So now I've just the things that I do a quick master. I just have it set at 0.7. But if I were to do another CD or something like that. But the other thing was the disc I took up there. He played one song 2 or 3 times and another song once, and that one song it skipped on the radio. So he put it in radio where they're getting CDs from local artists and they're playing them pretty regularly, and it skipped several times through the play of that one song, and so I've heard it. It actually did it on and one of my CD players on one of the discs, and then John said he was experiencing quite a bit. So the idea that the difference between replication and duplication, but and how affordable it is. And then, so I was just wondering, I think it could have been just through, that one batch that I did. I don't know. The other thing was I was just watching videos today by this dude. Oh, who is it? It's Damien something. And he's got a video that came out about a week ago that said, "Stop selling music." And then he had one that came out the day after that was, and he was saying, that in 2013 there was, I don't know, $300 million in music sales, not counting streams. And then in 2017, so like 4 years later, there was 169 million, and this is worldwide, and that's music sales. So that his point, he's a marketer, so he's got a book and some other stuff about social media and stuff. And his point was, if people aren't buying music anymore. So if you if you play a show and you're selling a CD and a T-shirt and stuff, that you're selling music, but it's really merch. Somebody's taking that because they want a memory of the show, and maybe they'll download it and they'll listen that way. But you can, for free, as long as if you have ads, you can listen to anything you want on Spotify, anything that you've released. And so he's saying stop selling music, and basically give it away, but have a strategy, a marketing strategy for that to get more people. So whatever it is your goal, if you want more streams, or if you want an email list, or if you want this, and he's got some things to go with it. And it really got me thinking. And he had, in 24 hours, there was 500 comments and people calling him some names and some stuff. And I think if you listen to his point, it doesn't mean you don't have CDs and sell them. That's not viable. That's not something you do. But if your focus is to build an audience, or if your focus is to get people to support you, it may not be through music sales or CD sales. It may be through other avenues.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that.
Who is this guy? Who is it?
His name was, I'll find it in just a second.
So I wonder,
what was
this
that?
Is probably not the problem you were having with the CD, but do you remember, did you happen to convert it to 16 bits, the audio?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think they let you upload it if it's not in the right.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Kunaki sort of has I think it would kick it back out, I think. Or maybe not. I mean, maybe you could upload any audio file. If that's the case, that could be, because there is a very specific format.
I don't think that would cause it, but maybe. Because typically when you, for people who don't know, typically when you convert to 16 bits from 24 bits, which is the norm when you record audio on your DAW and whatever, it's on 24 bits. But on CD you have to have the audio in 16 bits. And when you convert it to 16 bits, you have to do some sort of dithering to minimize the effects that the conversion causes.
Yeah, so I actually record in 16-bit, and
all right.
And there's two reasons for it. One is so 24-bit gives you a little more headroom before it'll clip, before you distort, but it's also a little bit higher CPU usage. Most people can't hear the difference through most things. That's a very big generalization. But the main reason I don't do it is I record on a Boss BR 900, so I record in a box, and then I transfer the WAV files, and it only does 16-bit. I got this thing in like 2006 or 2007, and so it's only 16-bit. The advantage I have with that, and it's actually a disadvantage. So like if I have most collaborators that send me WAV files, it's in 24-bit, and it makes sense. It's a better quality, and why not use better quality if you can? But I have to actually take that WAV file and convert it to 16-bit to put into the recorder if I'm going to record that way. So it's an extra step for me to deal with. So all my stuff is 16 that I recorded for that album was in 16-bit. I had it in Reaper. Everything was the same. And then when I put it out, so I actually but the good thing about that is I don't have to worry about dithering. I don't have to worry about any of that thing. I really think because there were a couple of people I asked if they had my CD, and I think I sold 20 copies to family and everybody all together or something.
That's
or
about my sales,
maybe. But yeah, but I was asking everybody that I could think of. I was like, "Did you have problems with it skipping? And if you do, just download it onto your computer. It'll be fine. It reads fine. It's just on playback some." CD playback, and it used to be a bigger problem when you have the boom boxes with the CD and they didn't read real well. That would happen a lot more with Kanaki type of things. So I was just kind of wondering, and but I've had people say that no, it wasn't skipping, or it didn't skip for me. I played it through and didn't have any problems. So I was kind of concerned, but I don't know how much of a concern it is. And
I've only done it's five copy runs myself, and just give them away. So I definitely think I'm not gonna sell them anymore, but it's so cheap. It's like the price of a coffee cup to get like five physical CDs. So
it's a really good deal.
I think we're gonna.
I figured it out. 5 copies, I think, from Kanaki with the shipping for me, which shipping is not too expensive, but I think I came out, it was either 5 or 6, but 5 got me the cheapest per copy amount. And then just real quick, I know we should probably listen to another song, but real quick, what I found myself doing lately, so what I like to do is I don't use Spotify that much, but I like to listen to YouTube and find music that way. So I went and saw Sarah Shook and the Disarmers recently, and they didn't have vinyl. I don't think they had vinyl, so I bought a CD. So I buy something, merch, T-shirt, something to support the artists when they come to town. First of all, I want them to come back so I can see them again, but that's a good way of supporting the artists. And somebody was here. What was her name? I know this, and I just listened to the album 2 days ago, but I bought her vinyl, even though she had CDs, and I don't really listen to vinyl. I do have a record player now, and I do have a small vinyl collection now, I don't know, 20 albums. But I bought the vinyl because in vinyl you get the download code. They always give you the download code with the vinyl. So I've got a work of art that's the normal size. I can put it on and listen to it at that. You have to listen to the vinyl usually about 2 or 3 times to get the grooves worn in and really get to sound good. But it's got that sound to it that's a little different than digital. Not really better or worse, just different, and I like it. But then I immediately as soon as I got home, I opened it up and I had the download, and I have it on my phone so I can listen to it. And it's just it's a way that so that dude was Damian Keys, and the video was called Stop Selling Music. And anyway, it's kind of what he's saying. It's like, it's not really selling music, you're selling the merchandise or something to support that artist. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
That makes sense. And that's a good point about the vinyl. I mean, I haven't ever thought about making vinyl, but like having the download code, that's like really good. It makes sense. All right, but let's get some more music. It's been what? It's been like 45 minutes again with no music. But anyway, here's another one.
But we're fascinating.
Superbly fascinating. So here's one by Brad Brubaker, and this one's called Suicide City.
If you lost, keep on going. You are not alone. Don't let this suicide city get you down. I know it feels every day gets a little bit harder. Every day gets a little bit worse. Every day is a fucked up competition. The winner's the one who gets to die first. Sometimes you feel like a stranger, that every hope is danger, that nothing will destroy the anger. It feels like love is a cancer, a question with no answer. Good intentions, witty banter, but all your friends, merrymakers, pretty bunch of fakers, say that you'll feel better later. They say that time is a healer, love is the revealer, hand out advice like there's some dealer. But they don't know every day gets a little bit harder. Every day gets a little bit worse. Every day is a fucked up competition. The winner's the one who gets to die first. If you feel lost, keep on going. You are not alone. Don't let this suicide city get you down. Sometimes you can't stop the crying. I'm asking you to try. Don't let this suicide city get you down. I know it feels every day gets a little bit harder. Every day gets a little bit worse. Every day is a fucked up competition. The winner's the one who gets to die first. You're not alone. Every day gets a little bit harder. Every day, la 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 la. Every day feel a little more fucked up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know it feels every day stage another disaster, but we never really get to rehearse. Every day take a deep breath. Don't let this suicide city get you down. Every morning take a breath and say, won't let this suicide city get me down.
Suicide City by Brad Brubaker.
It's a great song.
So good.
Love that song. I actually had already, I was like, oh, actually, I know who this is. I've heard this song. I think I'd actually heard that one.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it and going, man, that was really cool. Like, just really well done. I love the feel. It's got such a cool feel. I love when it comes out. It feels like it's almost like out of control when he switches to the double time thing. It's like it's almost like, and then it comes back, and it feels really cool.
Yeah.
Like it's got such a cool feel to it. I love it.
It's really good.
2 FAWMs up.
2 FAWMs.
Yeah, why not? Each of these is a FAWM. I don't know how that works. I should have my FAWM shirt on. I have all these. Wait, do I have a FAWM shirt on? I do. Wait, no, I don't. I do. I do. I've got my FAWM.
There you go.
I was wearing one. I've been wearing this for like 2 days.
Oh.
I haven't come out of this. I've been in the same closing shower
wash the
schmower.
FAWMs.
Here we go.
Wash the FAWM swag.
Look at my rock hair.
Oh, you want to see mine?
Yes. Hey, looking good.
Oh, yeah.
Gangster style now.
Let's put my hair up.
Yeah.
But yeah, there aren't that many songs on Farm. It's pretty easy to run into it. You'd say 2 times, two times the same song. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Applehead, I have a question for you.
Yes. Ooh, a question.
So, your creation process, how do you have a typical way that you would start a song or that you go about? Can you briefly kind of go through a typical, if there is a typical
Yeah.
song process?
Yeah, I have. So I do have a little bit of a typical song process. So if I know I have a song that's due, or that I have a deadline, or I have to, I got a skirmish or whatever, first thing I do is I open up Pro Tools or whatever. That's my program that I use. And I have templates that are saved. So I have all these things that are already like, my EQ is already set, or my reverbs are already kind of basically set up, so that I'm not having to recreate the wheel every single time. So I pop into a session. If I already have like a musical idea, like if I really don't want to lose it, I just have I have this microphone right here. It's a Shure SM7, and I'll just record, I'll set it out a little bit and I'll play guitar and sing just one take into the mic, so that I don't lose the idea. Yeah. If I'm sort of building the idea from music up, then what I'll do is I'll probably usually grab a guitar, like an electric guitar, and I'll have a click track on, or I'll put in just like a little temporary beat, and I'll play, I call it an A section and a B section. I'll try to come up with two parts. So verse and chorus, basically. And I'll just play so that it's in time, so I can cut and paste that over and over again. I've finished songs on albums where I cut and paste the verse and chorus. And the way I make that not look or sound horrible is that when I cut and paste something, I almost always have one or two instruments that are traveling through the whole song and not cut and paste. And it's sort of like when you do drywall, and in between the seams, you do the mud and then you sand it, you kind of create that, or you put the trim that covers up the trashy job of how everything doesn't get to the top. That's my trim. So my trim might be a bass line that goes through the whole thing, or a live drum take, where I play the drums and that's one take, I just get through the whole song. And so then you really just absolutely don't notice that I've cut and pasted anything, because it's imperceptible. To speed up the process, sometimes I just have to do that, and sometimes I don't care, and I might come back, and that's where if I want it to be more, a little cooler, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to play that whole take through so that the dynamics are even changing in certain spots. But usually, yeah, my process is I open up a session, I lay down an instrument of so many measures, and then I cut and paste, and I try to sing over that just to get my feel. If I'm just sort of building a song and then getting inspired by the sounds, then I might play the drums, I might play bass, I might get all my basic parts down and then sing over it. But usually once I pick up my guitar, I start hearing melodies. So, I do a lot of cut and paste, unless I've got the whole song in my head, or I'm trying to do a one-take song that I need to have done in 24 minutes. I have to have a song up for Song Skirmish. So that's a one take into the mic usually. Or it's a cut and paste. Or I do a one take of the song idea. Today, I just woke up and I was up really early and I saw there was this 6 a.m. thing for the Door one. And you were in there too. And I did the Door song. I just got my glockenspiel and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll play with a click track, and I just made a little progression, just hitting two notes at a time, dun 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 dun, or whatever, and I looped it, and then I came up with another part, and then I played one time over it with another little melody so that it felt like it wasn't just a cut and paste, and I just made up some singing on top of it, and then I figured out there was a verse and a chorus, and I kind of divvied it up, and I had a song. It's.
I like that song of yours too. It had a good sound to it.
So I liked how it came out.
From what I hear you saying though, so are you typically, like you said, you had some music or musical idea, maybe an A and B section, and then maybe a melody. Do you do lyric after that?
Yeah, a lot of times I develop the lyric after. I would say, I don't know. During FAWM, I've been writing like in the morning. I journal, and so sometimes I just had an idea. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write this little lyric out, and I'm gonna go finish it. I've got that. But I also have stacks of random lyrics on Post-it notes on my desk that I haven't done anything with. Then I go back and I'm like, this is kind of cool. Actually, I should do something with this. So I don't normally start lyrics first. I normally start music. I'm more of a music first, and usually a title. I like to have a title. A good song title for me is it can give me the whole song sometimes.
So-
It's sort of like a promise that you're trying to deliver on. If you have a good song title, like oh my gosh, so Evan Wolverton, I did a collab with him. He was here in the chat earlier. He's got like a big gig tonight, so he's probably already going to set up for this gig. But he has some really intriguing song titles, and he's just a really cool lyricist too. I like his lyrics. I'm trying to look up. I've been really inspired by Guided by Voices and Pavement too. They have like these ridiculous song, like really long song titles. There's a songwriter's name's Mark Eitzel. He was in a band, American Music Club, and he'd have these like really long song titles. And I thought, can you do that? Can you even do that? And I'm like, yes, you can. You can do that. So I remember my first year in FAWM, I wrote a song called Eddie Vedder Told Me There'd Be Days Like This. And it was on the, and I remember thinking, because I had sort of a concept about that. I saw Eddie Vedder on Saturday Night Live, and he did this thing where he wrote Sharpie, like it's a live performance, and he's like writing Sharpie on his arm. I'm like, what is he writing? Oh my gosh. And then like it was like this cool political ranty kind of thing he was doing on his arms, and I just thought it was so cool. And so the song sort of came out of that, and it turned into a very serious, kind of a sort of serious, emotional kind of singer-songwriter kind of song, and but like the title really got me going, like I like that, like seeing that title. I love this. His song title is When You Waterboard a Clown. It's such a great title. I couldn't not listen to that song. I mean, there's a lot of songs on FAWM that I listen to just because I have to hear what this song is about, right. I mean, I just scroll through and I see like a really good title. To me, it's like a good album cover or a good book title. We do judge books by their cover. I judge books by their cover. I look at a cover and I say, "Oh, that looks cool." That's like an interesting. It's cool enough that I want to see if it delivers on the concept that it's telling me. Like a really good commercial might get me very excited about a movie or something if they've done a really good job. And a lot of times the title alone is what they pitch that. To like Legally Blonde. Yeah, such a great title for a movie.
It's also like if you
it's
don't
cliche now because it's been out for so long, but it was such a clever movie title. It's like Legally Blonde. What?
It's like if you don't judge a book by its
a song
cover,
title
then
for me is actually really big.
By?
If I can have a good song title. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Were you talking? Were you just? I'm sorry. I was ranting and then I was monologuing. Are you guys still there?
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you. Oh no.
I can hear
Sad
both
face.
of you, so.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can people hear me? Are we being booted by the?
Very strange. Can you?
We've hit our
TC, you
time
can hear
limit
me,
or
right?
something. Sorry.
I can hear you.
Nothing.
Yes.
Oh. You guys can hear everyone, and you can hear me. Well, that's
Very-
good. I can't hear you guys. That sucks.
Okay.
I'm super
then.
bummed that I can't hear you now.
Yeah.
Let's see, oh, they said, did I post that song? Oh, I'm going to post this one song, and meanwhile, you guys can type your things at me. Sorry.
All right.
I don't know what just happened that all of a sudden your guys' stuff died out. Maybe I can join the call again? Sure, let me try. I'll try leaving the call and joining. Let me try that.
There we go. So this is what we normally look like. How's that?
Hello?
Can you hear us now? Can you hear me
I
now?
can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
But I can't hear you. Frick.
Oh,
Frick, dang it.
This is interesting.
What has changed?
It's the technical problem episode.
Yeah. The second one, the sequel.
Yeah.
Only more betterer.
Yeah. Now with more
I'm talking to myself now,
cows.
so I apologize.
I'll
I'll stop for a minute.
I'll put another
You guys
song
take
up.
it.
Yeah. another song. So here's a good one. This one is called Bad. No. That's the wrong one. What is this? Oh, right. This one's called Substandard. And it's by Fork Bomb. There we go.
Coming to this deli every week and every day. No, I don't want myself to go, man. You should know I wanna stay because I always eat it here like I do 200 times a year. Somehow you can still always screw it up. All I ever wanted is my standard sub. It's very simple. It's ham on rye, on ham. That's right in the middle, do you understand? The ham is on the outside, do you get me yet? If it's inside in, I'ma be upset. Take your fucking pickles and throw them away. Put a handful of capers right on a plate that is upside down and turned around so the front of the sandwich is facing away. What? Just give me the standard treatment. I'm not looking for disagreement.
That's such an excellent sound. So,
Love that song.
that was Substandard by Fork Bomb. So
Bomb.
great.
Yeah. I think Charlie Cheney and Platt were in the
I can
Slack
talk, but I
chat
can't
talking
hear.
about him.
So I'm gonna try close Discord, guys. Sorry, and then come back. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
That is good. That is good. Yeah, TC.
Yep.
Do you want to say something?
Sure. I would like to say lots of things. How much I admire your technical prowess on keeping this thing going sometimes is really yeah. No, I was just saying I think it was either Charlie Cheney or Platt or maybe both of them. Somebody mentioned Fork Bomb in the Slack chat. And the name looked familiar, but I had no memory whatsoever. And this was the first song that I'd listened, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I could see why somebody would mention this artist. And then I listened to another song or two, and they were all, every one of them was cool. So
Yeah, I had troubles concentrating on the song because I was trying to communicate with Steven that I really snapped out of it, and at that one point where there was that B part was really excellent.
I hear.
Yep.
I hear sound.
Oh my!
I hear
Lord.
voices.
Oh my!
I'm hearing voices.
Oh, you missed
That's
a great
usually bad,
song,
right?
though. But
Oh
anyway.
man. Which song
we
is
were
this?
we were just talking about how good it was and how you missed it.
It was
called Substandard by Fork Bomb.
I thought it was called Bard Cards Buy for $24.99. Weird. Why is that?
Oh, that's the
You'll be
theme
right.
song. No.
Subtle hint.
Nudge,
Do it
nudge,
now.
wink, wink.
Sponsored by
buy
Altoids.
cards
Make your
now.
breath fresh.
No, put that away. They're not paying us. Those
Yeah.
cheap bastards.
The rat bastards.
Rat bastards.
Rat
We've been
bastards.
sending them letters all month long. They never agreed to our
Still
terms.
nothing.
Yeah.
I told them I wouldn't brush my teeth and I would just use Altoids to prove their efficiency and effectiveness, and still nothing.
Nothing. No one would talk to me,
Bastards.
actually. It's weird.
I see a pattern. Oh,
So what else? Is there
What
anything
else did you miss?
Any other questions? Yeah. What else did I miss? I missed a song.
We were talking about
Makes me
something, but
sad.
I forgot what it was. And it was really
I don't
interesting too.
know.
Oh my!
I was talking about the Eddie Vedder song. I was talking about song titles
Yeah.
and inspire, like how that inspired. Like my process, a lot of times I'll have a
was it?
title to start
Yeah.
my idea with. And then I said Evan Wolverton. He has a really cool. I did a collab with him that I love, which I was just. I felt like I was just sort of in the room. But,
Oh right. I wanted to ask
He
you
did a
because
lot of great stuff.
I typically don't listen to lyrics at all in songs, and I have a very similar process to music. When I write songs, I try to make the music first and then write the lyrics on top of that. And typically, that's just like whatever. So, do you find that when you're listening to music, do you find yourself concentrating more on the musical side, melodies, and that, or do you concentrate more on the lyrics?
Oh, I'm much more listening to the music, probably.
Yeah.
Me personally.
Yeah, I thought you might. Yeah.
I mean, there are certain songs where maybe the lyric and the melody is all you're hearing, you know. But probably generally more, I'm really excited about the music, you know. And then the lyrics are great and they're important. But I mean, there's times where I don't even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Radiohead songs. I have no idea. I know a couple lines from the song, but man, the song is so cool. I love it so much, you know. And I'm sure there's super fans that would be very disappointed that I didn't know all the. I don't know a lot of my own songs, so. But
Yeah. Right.
but the music does. It is what pulls me in, you know. It's like I hear something that I like. And, I mean, sometimes it's a vocal hook too, you know, that catches me. You know, there's some cool line or something that is really unique. I remember when it first came out, the Vance Joy. He had a song. It was a really good lyric. It's like I'd listened to it so many times and still hadn't heard all the lyrics. And so for me, the hook of that song was the lyrics were so cool. The music was like, you know, it wasn't bad. It was a really cool melody. It had it's like this indie folk kind of feel.
Vance Joy.
But the lyrics were so good on that song. Like, it was such an interesting song. What is the song called now?
One of my absolute favorites from 2017 is by Vance Joy called "Laid on Me," and that song is phenomenal. It's so well produced.
This doesn't look like his Foy Vance. Oh, it's Foy Vance.
We
Foy
had,
Vance.
We had earlier in the FAWMtalk episodes, we had a couple of songs that were in German that we played and listened to, and I liked the lyrics. So in both the two songs that I remember, they both had the English translation in the lyric post on FAWM, but the song sounded awesome in German, and I know maybe 7 or 8 words of German, maybe 12 if I really think deeply.
Wow.
So I'm not, it's no way that I could understand, but it was interesting reading the translation, how close the emotion or the emotive feeling of the song was to the lyric and like what you get out of it. And sometimes you just like the energy, or you just like the like Juha has talked about in the past, where the vocal could be, it's another instrument. It doesn't have to be necessarily every song have to know every lyric in order to get out of it. And of course in FAWM there's a lot of songs that is the focal point, because you've got hardly any accompaniment. It's a memo recording, so you have a melody, a lyric, and then maybe a really quiet something in the background that you can't really hear that well of, so the lyric becomes the focal point. And that's great, and there's some great songs that way, but sometimes it is the music or the hook is not necessarily in the lyric. It's even in pop music when they do such big repetition and you've got this thing over and over and over again going on, it stops being a lyric and it starts being a instrumental hook or a musical hook. And so some now I don't listen to pop music, but then you've seen on Facebook where it says how one writer, Bohemian Rhapsody, and it has this big long lyric and it's this awesome song, and then they show whatever the pop song is with the 7 co-writers, and it's like 17 individual words that's just been repeated. But in that pop song with the 7 writers, the lyric wasn't the hook. It was there was something else that was the highlight of that song. So it doesn't necessarily just automatically make it bad art. That being said, I don't listen to pop music very much, so it's not my cup of tea.
I listen to a lot of pop music. I listen to a lot more pop music because of taxi stuff too. Like they're looking for something, and it tends to be more current. But the stuff that I gravitate towards making tends to be a little more on the fringe, like a little more indie rock, or like a little more, I don't know, like the Japan Droids or Replacements or this is okay. So here's the song that I was talking about that I could not. Vance Joy. There's a Vance Foy too, or Foy Vance. There's a whole bunch of people, but the song Riptide is nothing. It's nothing super. It's real simple. Although it does build up production wise, but I just really love I thought the lyrics were really, really interesting in that song. Riptide, yeah, it's called Riptide. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics just because. I was scared of dentists in the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. All my friends are turning green. You're the magician's assistants in their dreams. Oh, and they come unstuck. Lady running down to the riptide, take away to the dark side. I want to be your left-hand man. I love when you're singing the song, and I get a lump in my throat because you're going to sing the words wrong. It's so good, man. The first time I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, so much just hit my ears. And I'm not honestly, I'm not normally like a lyrics first person, and I'm not always drawn in by that. But like, that song I totally remembered because the lyrics were so cool, and I wanted to hear it again just to hear the words. And I do think that songs that endure tend to have something with the lyrics, Yes. I mean, I don't know if that's always the case. I mean, obviously, there's like songs by the Rolling Stones that are like, a couple lines, or, it's not like it's not like a Bob Dylan kind of lyrical genius, every line is a poem kind of thing. But, and that's why songwriting is so cool too. There's so many ways. You could just have a song where you just say, F this. That could be your whole hook, and it's all attitude. It's the attitude of the song. No. Rage Against the Machine. I mean, a lot of those songs it's just the ferocity and the intensity of the music, and the singer. I mean, Zach De La Rocha, he is super intense, but music's awesome because there's so many ways to do it. I mean, instrumental music can be so moving. Like that track we heard earlier. So it's so cool. It just went so many places. It took you so many different places. And there were no words, You're painting them with your head. But, and the point is, I don't know. You can make music a lot of different ways. But I tend to start with music is where I tend to start. And a title. I do like to have like a concept, and that helps me form my lyrics. So, yeah.
But like TC was talking about, like, they take some sort of... I've seen that meme where they take, like, Led Zeppelin lyric where it's very poetic, and then they compare it to, like, yeah, baby. Like some modern classic. But that's completely not the point of the song. And it kind of drives me nuts. They compare... Of course there are modern artists who have very poetic lyrics. Just gotta compare apples to apples, so to speak.
It wasn't like in the late 60s or 70s, or even before that, there wasn't bubblegum. There wasn't, easy listening type of things where the lyric might not have been the focal point of, it's the smooth sound is what you were going for, or you just had something, you take a band like the Monkees. It's kind of in the news now with another member passing, but that is a kind of lighthearted take on classic rock. It really is that almost, but yet there is some, you know, some value to the, yeah, almost. When you start with a TV show and you have this and it's, but that being said, there's still value to those songs, and as the group grew, they got a little bit more into music. But you compare that to, you know, like the infamous Jimi Hendrix Experience. That was their first U.S. tour, was opening for the Monkees, and
Crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah. So you had you had teeny bop. You literally had 14-year-old girls going to this concert. You know,
Jimi Hendrix,
and then Jimi Hendrix came out.
They were like, what is this crap? I'm sure.
And so the story goes that somebody in Hendrix's management crew came together and got Moms Against Everything or whatever one of those groups were, and said they wrote us a letter and it's inappropriate, and he's doing these things with the guitar that's not appropriate for 12 and 14-year-olds, which I would agree, and you know, especially for 1967. I could see that.
Right,
and then and so they got kicked off the tour, but the story is that they made that up. They just, you know, basically wrote the letter themselves, or said they got the letter just so they'd be off that tour. And
Nice.
but yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting that, like Yoha said, comparing apples to apples, I can find a good artistic song, whatever you decide artistic is. We can find an example that was released this year in the last month and a half. We can also find one that was released in 1967 or any other year. I can also go to that same year and find another song that probably isn't going to be, typically is going to be judged as less artistic, that it was just, fluff isn't the right word, but isn't as artistically deep.
It was like a dessert song.
Now, yeah, or it's just, or you know, there's music even back then without the machine, the industry being what it is now. There was still people trying to record music and make money, and if they thought they could get something, you know, that was slick and oh, this will sell lots of albums, they'll do it, even if it was really light. And I mean, early Beatles songs, you know, Love Me Do, are not that deep. I love the music. It's great, but it's not that deep. And then you listen to the middle period and then their late period, and if you just listen to how they deal with love and love songs, it really is an interesting arc from personal,
absolutely,
a polite courting love to love can save us all. Love is the answer. If everybody loved each other, there would be no war. Going back to interpersonal, but then being either breakup or I miss, you know, an edge to it, or a deeper non-courting but personal love. So even in that one band over the course of a few years, you can have a big arc, much less in disparate bands and eras.
Oh yeah,
it's easy to find. It's easy to prove your point if you focus on finding the right evidence.
Yeah, selective evidence.
What is that? Confirmation bias, or is that something else?
Is that?
Well, it's no, that's right. So when you look for evidence to confirm whatever it is you're trying to do, as opposed to looking at all the evidence and then having a conclusion, and we do that. Humans do that. It's our natural default. It's not a fault of only one music critic or one person in a social issue. So, you know, watching out for that is hard to do, and I do that. I've caught myself doing that when I'm scrolling through songs at the end of the day, and I've listened to 20 songs today on FAWM, and then going through. That's when I typically default to the watch list and to the hearts, as opposed to trying new things, because after you know,
subjective too.
If you, it is.
Right.
But when you have a limited amount of time, are you more likely to hit a FAWMling? Are you more likely to hit somebody you haven't heard before? Are you more likely to hit somebody who's mainly a lyricist and they did a melody to their song, and you know it's going to be a record, you know, an iPhone recording, so they get their idea across? And I love listening to those, but there are times when it's like, without even thinking about it, it's like, okay, I know that this artist is going to do a fully produced track. It's going to be heavy. It's going to have guitars on it. It's going to be, I know what to expect. And it's a default that you go to sometimes, and it's kind of hard. So if I'm, listening to music and I'm trying to expand myself, I've got to watch that I don't fall into the same patterns, and it's no different than anything else.
That is really the difficulty with all music, and that's why I started to make my Spotify script. So it's to people who don't know, I wrote this Python script to find new music on Spotify. So I have these certain websites that I frequent where I find like new releases that were released last week. And the whole last year I just copied those albums by hand to Spotify and to try to find like which ones are on Spotify and save them on my playlist and listen through like, the new albums during the week. And then last December I started to write the Spotify script that does the whole selection and finding job for me. So I just push a button and I get like a 2,000, 3,000 songs long playlist that it's completely like new music. But that's the problem with new music. Like typically people, they just default on listening to what they know is gonna be good. They listen to their old favorites and whatever. But and it's a lot of work. We were discussing about this with Melody Klein on Slack chat, and it's a lot of work because I don't listen through everything. I typically listen to something from each album, and I try to like think, is this going to be something that's going to interest me? But then the ones that are going to be interesting in me, I try to delve more deeply into those ones. But it's like a lot of work because you don't know anything about these albums, these artists, and it's going through a lot of songs you know nothing about and just trying to find stuff that you might enjoy. And I can, out of 3,000 tracks that were released like last week, I can probably find max 50 that I'll listen to more than once. And it's the same thing in FAWM, I suppose. Like, it takes a lot of work to get out of your, comfort zone, but outside what you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris Harris in the chat said that he's used the random song button far more this year and heard some great new stuff doing it. And that's, we've talked about it briefly, or maybe it was on the forum, but back when we had the jukebox, that was
Jukebox.
that was cool. The cool thing about that, and 5090 still has a usable working version, I think I was using it, where it kind of solved a problem. It just loads 10 or 20, I think, 20 random songs. And it's kind of funny, in 5090 there's a lot less artists than there is in FAWM. So, and in a 20 song random pull, especially towards the beginning of the thing, I can usually, about every third pull, I have at least one of my own songs in the random pull, which is kind of frustrating and sometimes cool. And with 5090, like this last year, I did almost exclusively handheld recordings, just guitar and voice or dulcimer and voice or something like that, just an instrument and voice. And the idea was not to get mixed up at all. So if I have a good song, I'm forced in the future to record it for real and not have an excuse. So it's kind of self-motivation to actually do something with the songs. If I'm going to do something, I have to make it this quality. I can focus on timing. I'm not going to be okay with a substandard something, say it's good enough.
I like that idea.
So, but as a result, I had 125 songs in 5090, and a lot of them were good songs. And you go to the jukebox, and there's 125. Like in the first half of the challenge, I had over 50 songs. Well, that's several percentage points of the total number of songs, because not everybody is putting out that many. And then so you get your own stuff. But the cool thing about the jukebox is, and when you get those random, you just hit play and you go about your business and listen. And every time a song comes on, you click over and see who it is, and you make a comment. And
there's still a problem. Doesn't the jukebox just select the ones that are uploaded, that have like the MP3 link? So people who upload to Bandcamp, people who upload to SoundCloud, they don't show up on the jukebox. So it's still like you can't discover everyone, but it definitely helps.
Yeah, and I think I made a comment earlier in one of the other FAWM talks, but I've noticed, or maybe it's my perception, but over the last 3 years especially, 2 years I would say, maybe 3, ever since they've allowed SoundCloud and they've added that functionality, it seems like new members tend to use SoundCloud because it's something most people have already used in some form or the other. It's fairly easy to get up and go, and so there's a lot more, and SoundCloud changed the default to non-downloadable, so it's harder to find songs that are downloadable for like this, or to keep in my own personal, I want my best of FAWM 2019. I have a folder, so if I listen to something and it catches my ear, I just grab it right then, rename the file and download it so that I know who it was, and put it in my FAWM 2019 folder. And I can the thing I like about that is I can go back now, like in 2008 or 2009, there are artists and songs from back then, and it's a relatively short list on one of those years. It's only like 24 songs, but I can listen to that thing, and it's like, I think in alphabetical order, I never put numbers in it, but that playlist, I've listened to it so much that playlist is like, if I put it in a real order, it would not make any sense to me, but I love those songs. And I've got a Charlie Cheney song. There's just a ton of songs that are so part of FAWM because I download them and use my own little playlist. It's amazing.
That's great. I never really did a whole lot of downloading of the songs, so and there's ones where I wish I had. Like, there's just some really magical, cool things I found over the years, and but it's good. It's ephemeral, man. It goes away sometimes, and treasure it while you can, my children.
Yeah, right. And there's some years where I've had good intentions, and I'm like, okay, back when we had the star system, or the rating system in FAWM, which I actually miss because it was just for my own, nobody could see it, so you could star something or give it 5 stars or so. I can't remember what year was what, but I would hit every song I listened to. I would do the little rating for myself, and then at the end of FAWM, I do all the 5 and 4 stars. I would just download as many of those as I could get. And that was kind of cool. And then there's some years where I forget.
I remember that.
And there's some artists, my intention is at the end of FAWM, okay, I'm going to get all of their stuff. I'm going to download everything that they did, and I'll just do that. So I've got a year or two where it's like, I don't even know what year it is, where it's like a name dash FAWM, whatever year it was, and I have everything by Hoops and Nancy and Val Cox, and just so many. Just from one year, I've got gigabytes of music, and then the next year there's like no songs. Like, I barely have my own. So it's
I'd be hilarious if you have like copies of people's songs and they don't have copies anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, did you download my song in 2017 or because I can't find it?
There's been a couple of instances where people have well, I'm not saying that I have it for somebody else, but there's been a couple of instances where people are like, I don't have a copy of the song. My hard drive crashed and I didn't have it somewhere else. And we've gone to like the Wayback Machine and looked to see if it was hosted. Like, since they had FAWM hosting, sometimes that will stay and you can actually get it if you can find that link, or you can get it where it was a collaboration and they're like, I lost the copy when my collaborator had it and I can't get a hold of them, and so you can find that link or find out who it was, so you have an email address or something like that. And there's been a case or two where we've been able to recover some stuff, and then there's been cases where it's just lost forever. And
so speaking of the file hosting, is it for people who don't know, if you donate a certain amount, you get a FAWM file hosting service. But is it because the problem or the good point, or the good side about SoundCloud is that it's very easy to use. So with this file hosting, does it give you like a button, like where you post a new song that upload a track, or is it just some sort of FTP server?
Yeah, so FAWM hosting is basically, there's a little interface. I used it years ago, but it's basically there's a little deal where you can upload it and then it gives you a link, and you can. I think you can edit it or whatever, and you only have those songs are pretty much there for years. It's not forever. I think Eric said something like, they've still got 4 or 5 years worth of this, or however long they've been doing it. But at some point, they may need to clear up space, so the older songs will go away. But you can use that, and it's a little clunky. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good tool once you figure it out. I know, and I haven't seen her lately, but Terry Marie was coming into the chats for the FAWMtalk, and she was having troubles using it, just getting it set up. It's one of those things where once you get the process, it's not hard at all, but it does take just a little bit of a setup.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is an MP3 or WAV or whatever it is that you load up on there. I mean, it's good anywhere. You can download it from somewhere else. You can listen to it on a browser at the library or on your phone or do something like that. So you don't have to have a player for it. So, all the browsers will play for it. So it does have advantages that way. But yeah.
No.
Yeah, I used that in the past a couple times, and I like. It's actually a little tricky. I think I don't know. It's not like super tricky, but I'm a little more tech minded. I'm sure for someone that is like they're just figuring out GarageBand and like how do I get this online? Like it could be overwhelming. But it's pretty cool they provided it. Well, I do have to go. I feel bad. I don't want to go, but
Well,
I have actually got a music project that I'm working on that has a deadline for one of the things that I'm working on. Not even a FAWM thing. And I must away to get that finished up. But
it has been excellent talking with you. It's so interesting.
Likewise.
we could go on and on forever.
Totally. I could talk music all night long, man. I love talking about music.
But if we do this in one of the future years, we'll definitely ask you back to be
I would love to come back.
Sure. All right.
Sweet.
I'll put it on my 2020. It's on the calendar, man.
We'll see if we
I'm
have 2020.
clearing up my Saturdays in 2020.
One of those future years.
I think we do it every 4 or 5 years, so we're looking 22, 23.
Okay, all right, got it. Okay.
24.
Hold on. Let me modify that.
2014 to 2019, 5. So, yeah, 2024-ish.
So but we'll have another episode coming up Monday. It's going to be 6 o'clock Central.
Oh, Central. Okay, 9 o'clock. PST 9.
We'll see what happens
8, I
then.
think.
Yeah.
8.
No,
Who's on? Who's on? Who's going to be on?
It's probably going to be Guthrie Go.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Aren't you behind? You're behind us, aren't you? So you're.
I'm behind. So it's right now. It's 4:34 p.m.
Yeah,
sun
so
is still out.
It'll be 4 p.m. Pacific.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll just be getting back from work. Oh, I could probably tune in.
you're almost as bad at maths as I am.
I'm so bad at the maths, especially the time travel stuff that's involved in FAWM. It's crazy.
In the future,
Time travel.
I've seen the future. What's the song? Anyway. Let's listen to one more song. This one is by Tom Ass or Tom's
Tom Ass?
Ass.
S.
Oh, got it. Oh, good.
S.
Man, that's an important distinguisher there.
Well, my pronunciation is... It leaves something to be desired for.
It was excellent.
So, this one is called The Tartan. Alright. So, yeah. Let's see you guys on Monday.
Later.
You to say if you can't hear it all. Nobody knows when the new will call. I got me a plan and I'm feeling fine. I cannot live if I cannot die. I say it out loud. I said it ain't easy. I say it out loud. Yeah, I'm on your side. I say it out loud. I said it ain't easy. I say it out loud. Two hearts may break and two hearts may fail. Nobody cares if they don't hear the tale. I got me a plan, yeah, I'm chasing a star. Yesterday moves when you can't get too far. I say it out loud. I said it ain't easy. I say it out loud. Yeah, I'm on your side. I say it out loud. I said it ain't easy. I say it out loud. Your mind and I'm feeling the wind. I'm feeling places that we have not been. Old homes may burn and the memories will fall. I want you to say if you can't feel it all. I say it out loud. I said it ain't say it out loud. Yeah, I'm on your side. I say it out loud. I said it ain't easy. Say it out loud.